I'm going to play this game that I play every week, which is if Indiana beats Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, and Michigan and goes into the Ohio State game 9-0 or 10-0.
They deserve whatever they got coming their way because that's impressive. I mean, honestly, like that would be crazy, dude.
If Indiana goes into Ohio State 10-0, I'm taking Indiana.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not.
Fight.
It's in the shoe.
know, man.
It's a bunch of James Madison transfers at the end of the day.
Yeah, and they got a lot of heart, just like James Madison did.
How do you know they have a lot of heart when they've just been up on teams the whole season?
Because Indiana's never up on teams. Indiana doesn't score 40, 50 points a game. They're averaging almost 50 points a game right now. And I get that they're playing nobodies, but they never, even playing nobodies, they don't average 50 points a game.
I'm not arguing this is the best team Indiana's had in a long time.
Yeah.
No, I'm not arguing that at all.
So, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, right now, but just the way that they
prop them up for this season, just because it's the best team they've ever had doesn't mean that gives them like some kind of like push up the rankings this season. Or I think it's more so kind of just looking at their resume. I think they just need a true physical test.
And that'll come when they play Michigan's Nebraska. That'll come probably more so against Michigan's defense. Maybe I got some thoughts on that.
We've given up 0 rushing touchdowns, so
so there you go. Right. But my thing is I think that this Indiana team is probably better than that 2020 team that almost beat Ohio State at Ohio State.
But I think this Ohio State team is better too.
I think this Ohio State team is better, but you also haven't seen them against quality competition. I mean, say what you will about Iowa's defense. It was just a matter of time before they ran out of steam.
But Ohio State is a team that like typically like this is what they do year in and year out. So they have a culture built to like, we're going to go in against big teams and we're going to win. Indiana hasn't had that. And so like, and also, Ohio State's 3 deep all over the roster. Like,
that's true.
They got a lot more horses and athletes. They can really out-athlete this Indiana team. And I think it's a styles make fights type of deal. I just think the matchup, 2020 versus this matchup is a little different just because of the style Indiana plays is completely different now.
I'm saying this from I love the underdog, and I would love to see Ohio State get beat by Indiana. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Peter, Rob, you guys are awesome. I really want Indiana to beat Ohio State. I think it would be great.
I love Indiana. I love the story for sure.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying is if you can, so if they can get past Nebraska, then I would feel pretty good about them getting past Michigan. Actually, not good, just realistic. I mean, that would hurt me. But if Indiana then beats Michigan and does go into the Ohio State game 10-0, I feel like at that point they're like, look, we've come way too far. So they're throwing everything they've got at Ohio State, and Ohio State doesn't really have good first half. Rob, what's going on here, man?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I want to shift the conversation then, since we're already going into this. Let's switch over to the midseason autopsy.
Okay.
And all right. We'll do that. And Rob, okay, carry on.
Okay. So I don't know. Like if you look at 2020 Ohio State, their secondary was like pretty trash. Like it wasn't that good as like this year's. And I think this year's Ohio State team is 10 times more talented. Maybe not the quarterback position, but at the running back position, the secondary, the D line, the linebacker, just all
more complete. Around. Yeah, it's more complete.
Yeah, more complete.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely I won't argue that it's a more complete team for sure, but I also think Indiana's a more complete team. And what happens if Indiana goes in there and thinks, yeah, might as well try? And
there's levels.
I know. If it was in Bloomington, I might have a tiny bit of concern. But
okay, when or before Alabama played Vanderbilt, is there any universe in which you're taking Vanderbilt to win that game?
Okay, that's like a one-off outside of like that happens how often? Never.
Exactly. How often does Indiana beat Ohio State? Next to never. But Indiana's got like a perfect storm going this year.
To predict like a complete upset is different than saying Indiana like has a shot because of their talent and their roster and how they've played. It's completely different. Like I could go in and say like, yeah, I'm going to make a prediction. Vandy just plays way above their level and beats Alabama. But to looking at Indiana's team, I can't sit here with a straight face and think that they're going to compete with Ohio State from a roster standpoint and just a program standpoint.
Sure.
It is any given Saturday always, but
yeah,
I'm not giving them much of a chance in that game.
I mean, that's fair. I guess conventional logic would say that I probably shouldn't give them much of a chance either, but I'm looking at this just like a story. I get like for me, it's like a gut feeling kind of thing. Like, man, if they're really feeling themselves going into that game against Ohio State, they're undefeated and they've got a little bit of a resume under their belt at that point. It's like, I don't know.
Ohio State would be motivated to fraud check them. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah. That's true, unless of course they're over there like, hey, they're throwing everything that they've got at us, and we're just kind of confused as to what's going on here. And then I don't know. Maybe then Ohio State decides, all right, we figured it out. They're unsustainable, and I don't know, they end up running away with it. But
as much as Indiana's playing this year, I think 2 years from now, Indiana is going to be I think a serious contender in the conference.
Just not yet.
I'm that big of a believer in Cignetti. I think he's a terrific coach. And recruiter.
Are you willing to place a wager on that game? A $20 wager?
Absolutely not.
I just want to see your confidence level.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't say whoa. All right. Hold up. I did not say that I am fully confident that Indiana is going to beat Ohio State. What I said was, if this, and this happen, then maybe.
We can say it about every game.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, so then Bootzilla's attacking you right there. If you have to use a bunch of ifs, then you don't have a chance against Ohio State. And he's right. He's absolutely right. But isn't the Alabama Vandy game sort of evidence of that any given Saturday sort of fluke?
That's something we already know, but that happens how often to think?
Well, sure.
Yeah. Like,
but it can happen.
Well, okay, we could literally sit here and say it about every single game, right? But I think what we're here to break down like the analysis and analyze what the teams look like and who has the best advantage in that game, and it's clearly Ohio State, even if Indiana comes in with all the momentum.
I mean, yeah.
Right. Yeah. The outcome is always a surprise. That's why. Yeah. I mean, that's why it's an upset for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess when you talk about is it likely to happen or not likely to happen? So as Mac was pointing out, Indiana has these wins stacking up. They seem to be doing better than they ever have before. So it kind of gives you that there's that chance. You're saying there's a chance kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Indiana would have a better chance than say Northwestern. Northwestern stacks up 4 or 5 wins.
Well, shoot, Vandy didn't have no momentum barely coming into that game. I mean, they were 2-2.
Right. Sam Hartman's looking downfield for Adrian.
Turner almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.